Hey guys, so this weekend I actually topped a remote regional playing Voiceless, so I thought I'd give a little, deck profile. I guess that's the thing we do when we top events now, right? We gotta use it for clout. So I'm gonna seize that opportunity for a free video. So yeah, I'll try and explain a few things. I think the main deck for Voiceless is pretty standard at this point, but I'll try and go over a few things. There were a few decisions I did make with this. And the extra deck particularly, I feel is the thing that changes a little bit back and forth. I'll just start with your main Voiceless core. Big surprise, we are playing 3 Diviner, we are playing 3 Low, and we are playing 3 Saphira for our monster playsets. So, Diviner's a crazy normal summon, contributing with Trias and comboing into additional stuff. You can send Arclight or enter some other stuff. Just a crazy, crazy card. Low, obviously, in the center of the deck, of course, you have to play 3. And Saphira, your main, method of doing ritual summons. These are fairly self-explanatory. Playing 1 Saravis, also pretty standard. He's just rookie, and you only really want to get to him when you can get him out, or get him out using Radiance trap, so yeah, he just doesn't really need to be in any more than one. You never really want to open him, so basically like a soft garnet. Playing 3 barrier. Your opponent's going to be prioritizing this to cosmic it or destroy it a lot. I found a lot that I was having to, get additional copies out, like in games where they got rid of 2 copies that I put on field and I had to get the 3rd, so I don't know why I'm feeling the need to explain this, obviously it's a 3 of, but yeah. And the first controversial decision, I think, I play 3 prayers instead of 2. I know that it's generally pretty standard to play 2 now. I really like playing 3, I think it comes up a lot. I had a lot of games yesterday where I went through 1 copy Banished, 1 copy Engrave, and then I had a pre-prep or a Saphira in hand that I just couldn't access. I've had games where I've opened 2 copy of Prayers, and then I just couldn't extend because I couldn't get to a ritual monster without pre-prep or Saphira. There's a lot of situations where the 3rd copy just does come up, and it's never bad to open in my experience. Yes, it's a ritual spell that just says ritual summon, which isn't crazy compared to what other summoning mechanics get, but that's honestly good enough to be a decent extender in this deck, especially if you do open some of the ritual monsters, which you're going to see sometimes because you're playing 4 of them. So yeah, playing 1 Radiance, same with Saravis really, you get it out of the deck when you need it, you don't really want to open it because it's a trap card. Low is just going to be placing it face up, and that's way better than setting it anyway. Insanely crazily powerful. I didn't really get how good this was until I'd played with it more, and it's just so versatile that I absolutely understand why it's 1 effect per turn, that just, you can do so much with this. And I know some people have said, oh, you never want to use the 2nd effect, you always want to be using the 1st effect, and the 2nd effect's the last resort, the pop effect. But I thought the pop effect was crazy. There was a lot of situations, I played 5 of my matches were against Snake Eye. It was good to just pop 2 Snake Eye cards to prevent them from using the summon from deck effects of Ash or Oak. Just keeping them off those additional bodies early on, or hitting the field spell, things like that. There was just really a lot of good positions where you could pop stuff and pop 2 to 3 cards that completely ended the turn. As for the rituals, playing 2 Skull Guardian, don't think this number's ever going to change. As for the remaining 2, it is not going to be 2 Saravis. I'm playing a Saravis and a Pengraph. When I first was playing with this deck, I really, really liked Pengraph. I really liked the scale effect. I liked that you got the scale effect after using the Spell Negate. I liked going into the Xyz Dragon Overlord to get 3 attacks and get a Zeus. But I just found that that wasn't happening, so I haven't been playing that stuff in the deck. Instead, just playing him by himself, and he's fine. The issue being, of course, that you have to ritual summon him, which gets a lot easier with the new spell in Legacy Destruction. But a lot of the time, yeah, he was just kind of... I would add him off of Saphira when I already had access to the other 2, and he would just kind of sit there. I would get him out sometimes, and he was good. But I think there was a lot of situations where I would have preferred to have access to the 2nd Saravis to have that targeting negation, which I just didn't have access to. The thing that's very easy to like forget is this rate, which is not once per turn. Like you can just get 2 negates off if they have like double impulm or veil or whatever. The situations where you get like the one effect on field, you have to resolve, and you can get 2 Ceravises in hand, and you can just negate 2 imperms, 2 veilers, whatever. If they have imperm veiler, you know, if they have combinations like that, which did happen a couple times to me, and yeah, Pangraph just doesn't do anything proactively like that. Yeah, again, very, very good in Legacy Destruction, and I do think it's justifiable play, but I think I'm going to start trying out builds that don't play this card. I'm going to try starting out with the second Stravis, and we'll see how that goes. That's for your main Voiceless package, and then there's of course some generic stuff in that. Obviously, 3 pre-prep just gets you to everything. It does add you to that stack of things you can get belled. I got belled a lot in this event, actually. Especially in the main deck, there was a lot of people maining Bell, and it does hit a lot of stuff in this deck. It does do a lot. The bright side is, of course, that Bell negates activation, so if you open 2 of these or get one of Prosper or whatever, you can still activate it, and there were situations where that happened. And then, for remaining, of course, the Trias for Diviner, and 3 Prosp. Yeah, this card's crazy. Like, Prosp is so crazy. This card, probably in terms of just pure power level, should be banned. I've said this before, but while I'm playing Voiceless, I want it at 3. Really, really fun card to resolve as well. I'm glad that it's now cheap. It's interesting, I was thinking for a while of playing like multiple copies of Trias, because opening him with Diviner and Hello is kind of better than sending him. Like, you just... It's better than, like, Ceravis, because you get to use Diviner to send, like, Herald, so you're getting an additional surge instead of her sending the Trias. Obviously, it's a huge brick, so you're not going to play multiples, but that is just a very funny prospect that actually opening this with Diviner or Low is really, really strong. And of course, this is level 9, Low is level 1, it lets you go into Chaos Angel, which I'll get to in a minute. And then, yeah, big surprise on my channel, we are playing Branded Fusion package. You can send Trias, you can send... Mainly, I'm gonna be honest, the only things I sent, I know you can send Low, but I sent Saphira once with it, because my Saphira got bestialed. Every other time, I was sending Trias while there was still a Trias in the deck. It insulates you against all of the targeting interaction. It lets you set up a Mirror Jade even if your regular combo gets stopped. I am playing Sanctifier, but I wasn't playing any of the lock stuff. I don't think it's good. I don't think you need it. I think it's playing additional bricks that makes your deck just worse. In a ritual deck, I don't think you should be playing additional bricks that just make you open dead more. I think Jowgen's really, really bad in Voiceless. That being said, I didn't actually go into Sanctifier. I was pretty much only ever using Branded Fusion as a starter. I never actually had the situation where I got to use the second fusion in the same game, so I didn't get into Sanctifier. I still think it's probably the correct final dragon to play, just for the mathematics of being able to resolve 2 Mirror Jades is probably the best final target. But yeah, this engine's really, really fun, really, really cool. I think it's really, really strong. It's a huge bait for interaction. Like, your opponent has to Bell or Bestial the Albion, or they have to Imperm or Veiler, or they have to, like, Ash the Fusion. Like, opening just... It trades 1-for-1 with most interaction, which seems, like, very mid, but, like, that's very good when you can have a lot of hands that just do fold to the 1 Imperm or whatever. So, it basically just shuts those off, because they have to deal with this, and if you activate this at the first card of the turn, they don't know what you're playing. That didn't happen with me. I never actually opened this going first game 1. I was usually getting this off of Prosp. But that's just bad luck, right? And then, non-engine. Alright. And this is very, very standard at this point. 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, Sanctify a target on the Fusion, 3 Nibiru, 3 Imperms, and a Called by the Grave. So this is a total of 45 cards in the main. And yeah, I did feel that I wasn't opening enough interaction a lot, and a lot of games going second against Snake Eye and stuff where I just didn't see hand traps and like top deck them, which is maybe that's obviously bad luck. Like, with 12 in the deck and then with like siding additionals in, you should statistically be seeing them. I guess I just got unlucky like that. But yeah, playing 12 in 45 with the core buy for like Ashes and Veilers and stuff is not ideal. But I didn't feel like it mattered that much. Like, I lost, I think, 6 of the 8 die rolls, and I won almost every one of the matches that I went second into Snake Eye. A lot of the games where I went second into Snake Eye Game 1, I still broke through the board and killed them with Engine. Like, I was really surprised at how good the engine was at breaking through various Snake Eye boards. It wasn't just like the same combos, there's a variety of them. All of these felt crazy every time I opened them. Never felt like they were dead. All of these felt really, really, really strong. Cold Buy, a bit less so because I just never got drawled or shifted going first, because I just never went first as the first game, and I just never got drawled. But it's still like a necessary card, so I feel like that's just, you know, my game's variance. It didn't come up, but I think it's pretty mandatory. I'm going to keep playing it for now. But yeah, all 4 of these just felt perfect. I wouldn't change any of these. As for the extra deck, let's go to that next. So, 2 main packages, that being the branded package and then the generics. So for branded stuff, I was playing 2 Jade, a Lubellion, a Sanctifier, and 2 Albion. This is basically for the maths of getting to make 2 Albaz Dragons in a game. That if you go into Albion with Fusion, and then you use the Albion and the Albaz for Lubellion. I didn't go into Lubellion very much because it just felt more vulnerable to interaction. That I feel like a lot of opponents now, they wait for you to get to the Lubellion, and then they wait, then because you have to discard a card, then they hit the Lubellion because you've just gone -1 to do the exact same thing, basically, and you've lost a card out of your extra deck as well. So I didn't go into it very much. A lot of the time I was just going directly into the Mirror Jade. And then you can, off the Mirror Jade, send the Albion. You get to such Brand Fusion, but at that point you don't have access to an Albaz. But the general idea is you go Albion, you Albion into Lubellion, and then you shuffle back the Albion and the Albaz for the Mirror Jade. You get to tribute this for ritual material. And then you can, you know, send one of the 2 Albions that is still in the extra to search a Brand Fusion, and then you still have either a Albion that you can make off Brand Fusion and send and banish a Mirror Jade that's in grave, or the Albion that's in grave, the Mirror Jade is banished, to get into your second Mirror Jade, and at that point you have a Sanctifier you can send to pay Mirror Jade's cost. This is why you need to play a 6th dragon, because you need to have that last target to send. Or you can just go directly into Sanctifier, and the Mirror Jade just kind of sits dead in the extra, but it gives you that flexibility of options. Diviner targets, Herald and Entis. I went into each of these exactly, I think, once. They're fine. I think you still play Herald no matter what. It's a very, very strong card. Entis just felt weird. Like, every time I felt like I wanted to go into it, I just felt like Trius or Herald did more. I didn't get floodgated very much by stuff like Summon Limit, or Anti-Spell, so maybe it would have mattered more then. But, yeah, these just didn't feel like came up very much. Very strong cards still, and you should still play them. I might cut this again to fit in some XZ stuff, like Big Eye maybe, or Flare Metal, because I wasn't playing any time card in this event. And then for the rest of my synchros, I was playing Baron and Chaos Angel. I only went into Baron the once. A lot of these, you're going to hear me say this, you don't access the extra deck very much in this, so it's... Don't take it as disparagement necessarily that I only summoned a specific extra card once, because you really don't go into the extra very much. Making it at all is, to me, evidence that the card was good in the deck. I got into a Skull Guardian that got negated, and then I just set a summon limit, and the Baron plus summon limit was enough to stop my opponent winning in time. Chaos Angel here exclusively for Trius and Low. Really, really strong. I went through this a few times, and it basically won the game when I did. It gave me lethal a couple times, just clearing a last monster and dealing that 35. It's a huge body for that. Clears anything is really, really good. Really easy to get into. I think I'll be playing this in this deck forever. I've softened a lot on this. I used to hate this card. I think it's probably not as unhealthy as I originally thought, but I don't really like towers still. But yeah, really, really good card. and then playing a Typhon. I went into this exactly once, and I think the summon got negated, and that was about it. It's probably good. There were maybe some game states where I just didn't think about going into it. I think Typhon, there's a bit of a skill test with Typhon as a card that, like, I think most players either don't think about going into it enough and just let it sit in the extract and don't ever make it, or they make it too much. Like, they just turbo into it and try and break a board with just the Typhon too early, or they think it's just they should always be going for it. I think it's a very difficult balance of when you need to summon this, and I just didn't think about it very much in this event. And then links, Linkuriboh, Anima, Mondo, SP. I never made Linkuriboh. This was one of the things I pretty much banished off of Prosp every time. In like games 2 and 3, especially going second, I would often side out all of the brand diffusion stuff, in which case you can just banish all 6 dragons off of Prosp every time for free. But in like game 1s and stuff, I was often banishing this. I often banish this as well. I think, I've seen a lot of people playing IP recently. Maybe I'll try that out. But SP just didn't feel impactful enough, especially when you're playing the brand diffusion stuff, to want to go into. I made Anima a couple of times, and you can maybe go then Anima into the SP or whatever. I just felt like Dynamondo was more impactful when I had the opportunity to make one or the other. I don't remember ever making the SP. Maybe it's a similar situation with Typhon, where I just wasn't thinking about the lines that go into it. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's still a very good card. I feel like it's hard to justify taking this out. There's a lot of other cards I would take out before it, like I'm considering taking out Linkuriboh. Yeah, it's difficult to justify going into the links, because I think it makes you so much more vulnerable to interaction, particularly Dynamondo, I think is a bit of a trap. Because if you can get nibbed after you make the Dynamondo, because you're often having to use Skullglide to make it, and then you just lose the game, you can get Bestialed on it, you can get Belled on it, you can get Crowed on it, you can get Called by it on it. There's just so many cards that people are going to be siding into you that this card specifically dies to. SP doesn't, IP doesn't. So maybe they'll be better to end on. But yeah, it's just Dynamondo trying to just greed for that additional radiance or additional barrier. You really don't need to take that risk compared to getting your game instantly ended by an interaction that just kills the Dynamondo. So yeah, still very good. The first effect's very good. And the second effect, yeah, I did make it a couple times. I did resolve the second effect when it was safe for me to, when I knew that I could safely do it and still have a board. Yeah, it's just a lot of situations where it's kind of dangerous to do it. Alright, that's the extra. So just left is the side. My side, I don't think was very good for this, and I kind of built it very last minute. I didn't have much time to sign up for the event. So there's a few things that aren't perfect in here. I'm playing the Bestials, the 2 Jerusalem, and the Magnamut. These played against Vanadium. And I used a Magnamut to hit a Visas in the graveyard to stop them making the Astrolaud. They chained a Jerusalem that they were maining to, because I nibbed them at this point. So they chained a Jerusalem to prevent me from getting the Magnum out, and then they Talents hand-ripped me. I'd used the Magnum in response to the Talents. I still had enough, and then the Magnamut I used on my own turn to get into a Jerusalem, and that gave me enough extension and stuff. It's really, really nice to get into things like Saphira off of Magnamut. Like, that's a really, really good ad. But yeah, I just didn't have those matchups where I mattered. I played the Womanadium match, and I didn't play against Branded, I didn't play the Mirror. 5 of my matches are Snake Eye. I played one against Purely. I think I put these in against Purely, but I didn't see them. It was 5 Snake Eye, 1 Purely, 1 Manadium, and Kashtira. So obviously that wasn't very good against Kashtira, so yeah, I mean, I feel like you should be on these for Branded and for the Mirror. But yeah, I just didn't have those matchups come up. Playing 3 Droll. I'll keep these down here. Playing 3 Droll. Again, similar thing. I just didn't have the matchup, so I felt this was good. I played 1 or 2 Fire King matches, and I thought about it, but I just didn't feel it was that relevant. I think I put it in when I was taking out Brand Fusions against 1 or 2 people. I put it in against Manadium, and I didn't see it. Very, very strong card, obviously, but yeah, again, didn't have the matches for it, and I just didn't draw it when I did side it, but I do think it's very good. I was playing Bells. Again, barely drew these when I put them in. I put them in against Snake Eye, and I put them in against, basically, game 3 going first. I put these in a lot because you can just use these to blank Bestials, which can be really, really relevant. They're good for that, and they're also just good into a lot of decks right now. Obviously good into the mirror, which you didn't see, but just good into a lot of stuff. All of my main board interaction already dealt with Snake Eye, so it was a kind of thing of, oh, well, I guess I'll decide like something that's fine in Snake Eye, and this was just fine in Snake Eye of all my options. Also, for Branded, pretty much, I was playing Foolish Return. I'm pretty scared of Puppet Locking. I haven't had good matchups at locals against like Puppet Lock, so I've been playing this. This should have been Cosmic Cyclone. I got very lucky that I didn't really run into summon limits and anti-spells and stuff. I got anti-spelled once, but it was a game where it didn't matter because I had a fusion in hand that I couldn't resolve because I didn't have an Albazin deck at the time. So, yeah, I just didn't play against Branded, didn't play against the Mirror. I sided this like against a couple Snake Eye players because I felt like it was just the other option I had. And big surprise, we're playing Summon Limit format. Yeah, I already mentioned this, but yeah, it's just crazy, crazy, crazy card. You can still play under it, going into like just Skull Guardian low, and you can make just an additional couple summons on turn 3, which lets you push for lethal. You don't need to do a bunch of summons to get damage on board because all your bodies are really big. So, yeah, a good deck. It is a really, really strong deck and a really, really fun deck. I was really worried that I would not end up wanting to play at all at Nats this format, regardless of like a ban list, because of the state of the game. But playing this event and playing it out, it had, yeah, a lot of fun. And yeah, if you have any thoughts on this, any other questions or anything, let me know in the comments. I'll probably post this over to Twitter as well. But yeah, I have some new content in the works. Sorry that I haven't had it up to a week since the last video, but it's on the way. I'm trying to get back into it. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this and hope this was informative. Bye-bye.